Yo, what's up everybody? It's the Jon and Justin show. My name's John and we're here for another video. So today what we're going to be talking about is the 99% versus the 1%. The 1% are doing things that the 99% are not doing. Alright? So if you want to be part of the 1%, just stop doing what the 99% are doing. Or if you want to be part of the 1%, then just do what the 99% are not willing to do, right? So an example of this would be reading, right? So most people are reading fiction books, right? They're reading things like Twilight and whatnot. But there's the 1% who are reading, and they're reading non-fiction books, right? They're learning about things to better themselves, to better their life, to better their business, okay? So another example might be the gym. So you go to the gym and 99% of the people in the gym are just walking on the treadmill for a half hour and then going back home. And they're wondering why they're gaining weight and not losing weight, right? And then 1% of the people are in the gym, they're working out, they're running on the treadmill for 30 minutes, they're going to the gym every day versus the other guy who's going once a week, once a month, once a year, right? So that's the difference, okay? So what it comes down to is, are you putting in the work, right? Are you doing things that the rest of the world is not willing to do? And that's what's gonna put you above the rest, right? That's gonna make you the cream of the crop, okay? So 1% of the population is driving a Ferrari, okay? And that's the same guy who's inputting what only 1% are inputting, right? So the main thing here is about input and output. Input equals output every time, okay? So if 99% of the population is taking their free time, for example, so free time is the input right here. And in their free time, they're watching Netflix, they're watching Friends, right? They're watching Hallmark, right? And then 1% of the population in their free time is learning about their business, is reading a book that's gonna further their knowledge about a certain subject that they're gonna go and expand on later, right? So that is gonna lead to their output from that free time, okay? So the person who's reading, right, who's learning more, who's expanding themselves, their output is going to be the Ferrari, right? Meanwhile, the person who's watching Netflix, just like everybody else, they're just gonna be driving a Ford like everybody else. You know, so you wonder why the guy has a Lamborghini. You wonder why the guy has a shredded body, right? With 12-pack abs, okay? You wonder why the guy is so smart, right? Everyone can be so smart, but not everyone is willing to input the work of reading the books to be so smart, right? And then you end up with an average output, an average brain, an average intelligence, because you're just inputting what 99% are inputting. You're not inputting what 1% of the population is inputting. So 1% of the population is doing the things that the 99% are not willing to do, and then they are rewarded with only what 1% of the population receive. Meanwhile, the 99% are left with average. Another example of this is in sales. Okay, so you have two guys, Tom and Bob, who go to the office, right? This is input for sales. And Tom is inputting 10 phone calls in the morning, okay? And then Bob is inputting 50 phone calls in the morning, okay? And they both do this for 3 months. 3 months goes by, right? And then at the end of 3 months, Bob is closing a client on a massive deal, and he's gonna make $50,000 from this deal by closing this client. Now, he got this client as one of those 50 phone calls he was making every day. Meanwhile, Tom doesn't get that same deal for another 3 years because he's only inputting 10 phone calls a day. So because Bob input all of those phone calls, he was able to get that output of extraordinary, right? Of closing that deal, making $50,000. And he did that in 3 months. Meanwhile, it takes Tom 3 years to get that closed, to get that deal, right? And then by 3 years, how many times do you think Bob has done that if he keeps doing these 50 phone calls? He keeps doing what the rest of the office is not willing to do, right? So another example might be coming into work and leaving work. So Bob might also, to get his 50 phone calls done, he comes into the office at 6:30 in the morning. The rest of the office is struggling to stroll in at 9 a.m., okay? And then the rest of the office can't wait to go home at 5 p.m. And Bob is in the office till 7 p.m. making an additional 25 calls at the end of the day, okay? So that's the difference, okay? So it's always your fault. At the end of the day, it's always your fault, okay? That's what I'm trying to connect here, is that the output of your success, the output of your reality is always dependent on your input. Every time. How much are you getting out of the day? You know, what time are you waking up in the morning, right? Because if you're waking up at 5 a.m., if you're waking up at 4 a.m., and only 1% of the population is up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., the other 99% are getting up at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. There's probably 50% who aren't getting up till 12, 1 in the afternoon. We can only dream why. Another thing to think about is if people aren't looking at you and saying what you're doing is weird, outlandish, unordinary, unorthodox, crazy, right? If people aren't looking at you and saying that, then that means you're probably doing the wrong thing, because you're probably doing what the 99% are doing. You're probably inputting what the 99% are inputting, right? You see, when I'm reading books, right, instead of watching TV, instead of watching Netflix, people look at me and say, that's weird, that's crazy. Why do you do that? I would never have time for that. How do you have time for that? You know, every time they say that, I'm just like, yes, that means I'm doing the right thing, because I'm not doing what the 99% are doing. And therefore, I'm going to be rewarded with what the 99% will not be rewarded with. I'm going to be rewarded with what the 1% get, right? The 1% financially, physically, mentally, right? Every aspect of life, you want to be in the 1%. It's not just money here. This is everything. This is mentality. This is your physical being. This is everything. Everything right here is based on your input and your output. Because if you're inputting what the 1% are inputting, then you're going to get what the 1% get. You're not going to be left with the average. You're not going to be left with the 99%. It's like a good friend told me, it's cause and effect, right? Whatever cause you put into the world, you're going to receive that effect in the world. That's what you're going to get, right? So if what you're causing is very little, right, you're not reading. You're not going hard in the gym. You're not making that extra phone call at your job for sales, whatever. Then you're not going to get the effect of that extra deal. You're not going to get the effect of that extra abdominal muscle, right? You're not going to get the effect of that feeling of success, of finishing that book. You're not going to get the effect of the serotonin, the dopamine in your brain, of closing a deal, of finishing something, of achieving something. We have our email below. Send us an email if you want to join our accountability coaching program. And it's 100% money back guarantee, right? We guarantee that you will make double the money of the cost of joining our program within the first 6 months of joining. So shoot us an email to join our accountability coaching program. What we do is we work on your goals. We backtrack from your macro goal, and we break it down into micro daily actions that you need to take action on. And we're here to hold your hand. We're here to help you achieve your goals in whatever it is. Becoming better mentally, becoming better physically, becoming better financially. We want you to be the 1% in all these things in life. And that's what we're here for. That's what our program is for, right? So shoot us an email. I mean, dude, it's 100% money back guarantee. You have literally nothing to lose. If you don't make twice as much money in the first 6 months of the cost of the program, then we give you your money back. Okay, we've never had to give a single person their money back. All right, so shoot us an email today. Email is below. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay loving, stay subscribed, stay liking, hit the bell, stay tuned for more. Peace.